Brigade presents The Realty Debate, powered by Reliance Home Finance with Manisha Natarajan.
As we head into another festive season, the question we are asking on your behalf today: should you buy a property or home in the coming 6 months of 2016? Actually, less than 6 months now, about 4.5 months left. Is it worth taking the plunge, or should you simply wait out for 2017? Welcome everyone to the Realty Debate on home prices in India and outlook on future prices. Joining me today, Irfan Razak, CMD Prestige Group and Chairman CREDAI. We also have with us Gitambar Anand, CMD ATS Infrastructure Limited and President CREDAI. For Mumbai market perspective, Deepak Goradia, Vice Chairman and Managing Director, Dosti Realty and Vice President, MCHI CREDAI. Also with us, armed with data, Pankaj Kapoor, Founder and Managing Director of Lysis Forus. And of course, Sameer D'Souza, Founder and MD of Prop Equity with me. Gentlemen, I'm going to come to you in just a moment. I'm just going to show some key indicators which do indicate a modest pickup in sales in the first 6 months of 2016. Now, recently, data released by PropTiger, which is an online portal, and international property consultant Knight Frank pointed towards an uptick of 7 to 8% in sales across top 8 cities. Now, this slow and steady increase in demand, the report says, shows that actual end users are finding their way back into the market, while investors still remain at an arm's length distance. Now, let's take a look at which are the 3 biggest beneficiaries of this improvement in sales. Prop equity data shows markets like Hyderabad, Greater Noida and Gurgaon are showing some signs of revival. The absorption has gone up significantly in Hyderabad, Greater Noida and Gurgaon. And we're talking about first 6 months of 2016. I'm curious to get the details and we will get them from Sameer. Hyderabad is leading in Lysis Forus report too. So this is one common factor, but Lysis Forus differs on the other markets. And their report says that Ahmedabad and Kolkata are the ones which are indicating higher sales compared to other cities. Which are the markets which are not doing well? Seems like Faridabad and Ghaziabad in the National Capital Region are seeing the most pain with nosediving sales in the first 6 months compared to the same period a year ago. But we will, of course, get experts' opinion on other cities as well. Now, data by both Lysis Forus and Prop Equity shows sharp fall in new launches year on year in the first 6 months. And I would like to ask my panelists, is it safe to assume that sooner than later the excess inventory of flats will be absorbed and prices will firm up? Now, what is the time frame for this is the big question. Mr. Razak, first question to you. Data differs from agency to agency. So what's really going on? I mean, today I was looking at 4 or 5 reports and saying, what do I make of this? So I just took a headline number and said top 8 cities, 7 to 8% uptick.
Manisha, this is the million-dollar question that's asked all the time. But I believe to buy a property, there's no wrong time or right time. The day somebody feels that they want to invest in a property, buy a property either for their own use or as a long-term investment, that's the day. Because history has shown that over a period of time, there has been capital growth across the board over a period of time. It's only certain times you have a period of lull and then again it takes up and the prices start getting adjusted to inflation. And in India, as you know, you have a year-on-year inflation of at least 6% minimum. And if you delay by a couple of years, that means you are actually lost out on the overall opportunity to buy a property and you'll end up paying more.
Mr. Razak, what you say does hold some water, but the problem is that, now there are buyers, whether it's an end user or it's an investor who hasn't really seen an appreciation. Forget an appreciation. In some cases, they've actually seen in resale market their property prices going down. And in India, when a large part of your savings, Gitambar, goes into buying home as your big asset, then it is very, very, let's say, worrying when your asset prices go down. So therefore, that question, what is the good time to buy? At least you want to protect your downside. Can we say that if you buy in the next 4 months, your downside is protected?
This inventory has come up before its time and it's all come up suddenly. Now, one must understand there's no new land coming up and what is there in these locations. And now if any new stock comes up, it will come up in far-flung areas and away from city centers. to take up basically your observation, which data to follow, because there's so many figures in front of you. I'll give you a small example. I was with the managing director of PNB Housing this afternoon, and I asked him, what's your take on inventory offtake across the country? He said, I'll give you a small example. He said, we had 2 years ago an inventory of 22,000 homes across the country, and last year, in the last calendar year, they have seen a sale of 12,000 units from those 22,000 units. That means, and I don't know where this has happened. I said, has it happened in one particular geography? He said, no, it's happened across the country. So I would agree with Prop Equity's report saying that this entire sales pickup has been across all geographies. Some places it's been more, some places it's been less. For example, if you take here the case of the NCR, Gurgaon and Greater Noida, one must understand 50% of the country's real estate is over here. This is the kind of supply in this region. So for this supply, this huge supply which has come out in the last 5 years, it'll take some more time, but there's going to be no further price correction, because no developer will make an out-of-pocket expense to give a discount or something like that. So I'll tell you, for one, CREDAI has come up with data, and we'll be releasing the data for June 30th for 2 quarters is coming up soon. So we will be giving you a report from the horse's mouth, and our figures speak quite differently and very much in tandem with Prop Equity's figures. There has been an uptake in real estate property. Prices may not have risen drastically, but there has been a small edge of a movement in prices also. But definitely there is traction in volumes. To actually put things in perspective, the end user is very active. They are going out to buy that property. They are identifying the location, the developer, and they are finalizing the deal.
Okay.
So I don't see much of a problem here. I would say by Diwali, things will be very different.
Okay. So Pankaj, let me get in here. So it was really not the Prop Equity data, Mr. Anand. This is the IPC Knight Frank data and Prop Tiger data, which says 7 to 8% across top 8 cities. Pankaj, your report was much harder to decipher. I'll be very honest, it was not an easy report to actually read through, except for some of the headline numbers. So run us through, what is the mood today amongst the buyers? I mean, really, has 2016 first 6 months been better than 2015 first 6 months?
Yeah, it is. So if you look at on YOY basis, we showed 9% growth in the sales. However, the inventory also rose by around 17%. So it's the inventory as well as sales both have gone up. But on the Q-on-Q basis, there was a moderate decline. I would say that moderate decline was because of the lower amount of new launches during this particular quarter. So there's a decline in the new launches, and generally the sales were being registered in the new launches in most of these quarters. So because of that, quarter on quarter, I see a bit of a decline. But I completely agree to the point of view is that since last 2 years, we are not seeing kind of a surge in the prices. And over a period of time, since interest rates have reduced, and during the period, the people's income also have grown. So it is giving kind of a slight growth in the sales. So sales offtake is there. So if you look at last 3 quarters and 4 quarters, I see the sales trends is upwardly mobile. Okay. So overall sense, I do agree, and I still say that, whatever the Knight Frank and Prop Equity data indicates, it's showing this manner only. So YOY basis, there's a growth. On Q-on-Q basis, there's a bit of a decline.
So when you say Q-on-Q, are you taking January to March and then April to June? Are you taking sequential Q-on-Q?
Yes.
Okay.
January to March and March to and April to June.
To
So
June. All
Q1 FY, yeah.
Okay, so hold your thought there. So actually we have consensus on data, and Mr. Goradia, you should be happy, man, to hear that there is consensus. So the number could vary from 7% to 8% to, as Pankaj has said, 9%, but definitely 2016 first 6 months have been better compared to 2015 first 6 months. So when at the end of 2015, developers were saying worst is behind us, in some sense, it actually turned out so, isn't it? I mean, things may not look phenomenal, but the worst definitely seems to be behind them.
Manisha, I absolutely agree with you. The things are in 2016, the Q1, Q2, as Pankaj says, is definitely better than the 2015. In 2015, comparatively, this year we have a lot of takeoff conversion happening at each developer site, even in western part of India. We see a lot of things happening in Mumbai and MMR area. The things are that even if we see the results coming from the corporates listed developers in Q1, that is April to June 16, everybody has shown a better improvement, better result. And as a developer, we also feel that inquiries are generated comparatively is better. Number of footfall and number of conversion happening at various sites at various developers in Mumbai, MMR and surrounding area is definitely better than 2016. The trend is positive and we do see the opportunity where definitely further down the line it will be better in end of the Q3, Q4 if we see about 2016 and March 2017 should be a better than what it used to be now.
Okay. So as we are heading into the festive season, Samir, call out some of the markets which you think are likely to probably have the best offtake. Now, your report says, and I found this really surprising, your report actually showed Greater Noida as one of the better markets which has picked up, Gurgaon, some revival and Hyderabad. So I mean, what is the kind of traction we're going to see in the next 4 months of this year?
So first of all, to correct what you're saying with respect to the micro markets or cities, Greater Noida includes Noida Extension.
Okay.
And Gurgaon showed a lot of uptake also because that includes sale by the government in affordable housing. That had a
so I'm glad we
fantastic,
qualified that because if you speak to anybody and ask them how the Gurgaon market is, they still say that look, it's not looking like it's picking up.
Yeah,
so that's that
came out with
affordable
a lucky
segment.
draw scheme at very affordable rates, and that saw a fantastic subscription from everybody, and that is one of the reasons why Gurgaon is looking extremely good on paper. With respect to micro markets, you're talking about across India or you're talking about across
Let's
cities?
just talk about strengths now. I mean, it's going to be hard to call on
Yeah, so
weaknesses,
I
but
think
in strengths, which are some of the markets which you think are going to benefit the most from the festive season?
You see, the thing is that as everybody is aware that we are really in an end user market. So end users, whenever and wherever they go and buy, this is probably absolutely the best time to go ahead and buy. You cannot get better rates and you will not get better properties. And I completely agree with Mr. Gitambar on
Samir,
that.
So stop here. This is what I need everyone to catch the bull by its horns and do a call on pricing. Because look, I mean, here, October, this is an early Dussehra, early Diwali that we are going to enter into. This is one of the most let's say, auspicious time to buy real estate. Are we saying that most markets have hit their bottom? Are we calling it a bottom?
Yes, I can say safely that we can say it's hit kind of a bottom with respect to pricing.
With respect to pricing.
With respect to pricing.
That's what everyone wants to know. I mean, are homes likely to get cheaper if I can wait a bit? You're saying no. Pankaj, call on prices.
You know, I do agree. If you look at if there were further decline in the prices, it would have happened a year back, which has not happened. So it looks like there's a resilience and the price is going to hold on. So I would still say that it's a buyer's market. There's a huge inventory ready as well as under construction. Ready, even I mean to say that there's a huge amount of investor stocks available in the market. So one has a big bargain available. So for end users, certainly I say this today is the best market. They can go, they can strike good values, they can bargain well, and they'll get good options available in the market. And I do agree, like, you know, it's the bottom of the market. I would not say that from here the prices will begin to surge. I would say there's going to be pricing pressure maintained over next 1.5 years. Having said that, I don't see there's going to be further decline and no rise too.
Okay. That's a strong statement coming from two data companies, two independent research data companies. All right. This is good news, but I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Razak, and ask you this question. What is a buyer really looking for today? The buyer profile has undergone a huge change. We keep titling the buyer as an end user. But in terms of age, in terms of what he's looking for, what does he bite into? Run us through what your experience has been as a developer.
See, the buyer, of course, his aspirations have changed. Buyers looks at any property, even if it's in the affordable segment. He wants all the lifestyle amenities. He wants open spaces. He wants playgrounds. He wants the sport facilities in the clubhouse like badminton, squash, and party halls. All of that, and the size of the unit, of course, today has become smaller. It's only to make it more and more affordable. But in spite of that, even if he's going in for a mid-income housing, all these facilities are like now taken for granted. Now, if any development promises all this and more, and also gives him a decent price in terms of the total ticket price, I think they are just going ahead and committing themselves. Now, coming to price itself, I just don't understand how price can ever come down from these levels, because there is the cost of construction keeps going on higher and higher. The land price also has gone up substantially, and keep taking this combination. I think the newer launches also, whichever have happened in the recent past, have happened at very decent numbers. So any buyer who buys into property today, in the long term, stands to gain. I don't know whether property price can increase in by quarter on quarter. We can't measure that. But I would like to take the life cycle of a project from the time the customer books at the foundation stage, and by the time the property is ready. There is definitely a growth, and that's my experience over the last 35 years, that the growth is almost between 50% to 100% from the beginning to the end. After that, if a person has bought for his own use, it's only a feel-good factor that, look, I had bought at X, my capital value has gone up and has become Y. If somebody is an investor, somewhere down the line, maybe halfway, 3/4 way, maybe at the end, they sell it off and make some short-term, long-term profit and then move to another project. Because we need both. We need actual users. We also need investors because they provide the required cash flow. So, all in all, now the supply is also going to get reduced, Manisha, for two reasons. One is looking at all the news, a lot of people have actually cut back on the new launches. And the second part is now with the RERA bill that is going to get implemented very soon in all the states, the time to come to market is going to take much, much longer. So I believe there's going to be a time lag for a year and a half, where no more new launches will really come in, and that is going to actually contract the supply. And once the supply gets contracted, and if the demand remains the same, and that's market forces, it's again going to push up some prices. And like Gitambar said, it's also a function of location. If the location is good and the product is good, obviously the price is going to be much higher. And if you're going to wait, you're going to lose out on the location, and you're going to go further and further away from the city. So this
okay,
is what
fair enough. So Mr.
pricing.
Anand, I'm going to come to you. Let's just run through some of the points here. Bottom, as you've already said, that there's no room for prices to go down further. 1.5 years, no one's willing to say that. I mean, everyone's saying we don't know whether prices will go up. Now let's look at this whole, RERA coming in, and then even developers getting cash strapped and therefore being very careful about launching new projects. Some developers only focusing on deliveries, so supply contracting. At what point do you think that's going to become counter-effective for keeping home prices stable? I mean, is there a genuine worry that good for investors, but for the end home buyer, that maybe a year and a half is all that he has in terms of being able to strike a good bargain?
Actually, maybe even less, Manisha. I'll tell you why. New launches are not happening also because there's no new land which has been auctioned in the last 2 years, and nobody's bought new land because the good locations in all tier 1 cities are already kind of taken. Let me just put things, over here in perspective for my consumers. And Manisha, you being a consumer, Pankaj being a consumer, Samir being a consumer, you will understand what I'm going to say now. See, what happens is there are two kinds of buyers. There's a first-time home buyer, and there are subsequent home buyers, second, third, fourth-time home buyers. So the first-time home buyer has a budget, and he says, okay, in this budget, let me try to get a decent accommodation. I'm getting married, you know, it's one room for me and my wife and one for her parents or my parents whenever they visit. I'm giving you the practical side of the entire purchase. Once that is done, then children come in. So the aspiration of the first time home buyer is that the next time I buy a house, which is maybe another 2 or 3 years from now, it should be a bigger house. And that bigger house could be in a little far from his workplace, but not too far. So in these past years, we've seen, and in our company, we've seen this trend. Our first time home buyers who bought into our company maybe 15 years ago have subsequently bought bigger houses in a location which is a little far further away from where they initially bought, which was closer to the school and market, etc. Because price permitting, they would like to go for a bigger house, maybe a 3-bedroom, maybe, and the 3-bedroom person would like to go to a 4-bedroom location. Now, over the years, we've also stopped buying land because there's no land available in places which are near to city centers, where the schools are close by, where there's social infrastructure, where job opportunities are there. So whatever land we have now is rather far flung. So now it doesn't make sense to make those launches today till we have infrastructure, social, and of course roads, etc. over there. Now, what happens is that we've already launched these projects which are closer to the city centers, but they're not all sold. They are under construction, but they have been partly launched, mostly launched. So they are selling slowly, but then as we keep selling stock, we realize that the demand for this location as construction is coming up is growing. So the interest of the end user, the home buyer, to come to this location is also growing as the construction progresses, because don't forget, it takes at least 4 years for a project to be actually delivered from start to finish, minimum. So what is happening now is that these locations, which were very attractive to the end user, are now getting taken. The houses over here are selling. So just to give you an idea about Noida or maybe Gurgaon, the supply in these locations also is getting lesser and lesser. And it is an obvious thing that as supply is restricted and taken up, the prices will definitely move. So let me tell you this. We delivered a project right here in Noida on the expressway. Samir will know where it is. It's in Sector 104. It was, we launched at a price of 3,500 rupees in 2010. That was on a down payment, and we kept pushing up the price up to 5,500, 6,000 delivery. This was in the year 2014, mid-14. Today, the resale value of that project is 10,000 rupees a square foot. Why? Because it is closer to the city centers. And 10 kilometers away from the same project, we've launched another project. It's called Pristine. This we launched in 2014. That project we launched again at about 4,000 rupees. That is trading at 6,000 today. And the end user is buying into it. So I cannot agree with the fact that prices will not go up. Prices will definitely go up because good locations are gone and taken.
Okay, fair enough. I think very well made point. It's all about location. Mr. Goradia, just very quickly, in terms of Mumbai, this is a market everyone said is waiting to crack down. It's slowed down, and prices are likely to come down. It's the most expensive city, all of that. And I find that Mumbai is far more sticky than NCR when it comes to prices. So are you saying that, look, we may not see prices going up for another year, but we won't even see prices going down? I know as a developer, you'll never say prices will go down.
A little differ with you, the view and the opinion which you express about the city of Mumbai. As such, as in Mumbai, we don't have open green land. The development happening across other cities, and in Mumbai, lot of development is happening is a brownfield development, and greenfield development happening in extended suburbs and in MMR area. Mumbai has got all brownfield redevelopment project of slum redevelopment, cessed land redevelopment, society redevelopment project, where the supply is not able to generate that great number. There is a phase-wise development happening where one has to settle with a tenant and then make a rehab building or the tenant's building for the society, and then limited portion is remaining for the sale component. So the supply in city of Mumbai and even in extended suburb is not that huge. Overall, we see the scenario because of little sentiment issue, the customers were little delaying taking decisions. But since last 2 quarters, we see that people are coming forward. They realize the prices remain steady in terms the prices point of view, developers point of view, the construction cost has gone up.
Okay.
Various cost of paying premium to municipality, government of Maharashtra, and even state level and even in central level has gone very, very high. So there is no scope of further that way that builder can cut on any price. So prices point of view, it's all accepted norm that prices are stable now, and prices will definitely in time to move little on a northern portion or a positively upward trend. But that may not happen in the immediate future. We do expect post October onward the festivity season, lot of maybe a launch because of RERA and issue expressed by Irfan ji and all. The issue is faced across India. So new launches have little slowdown. Existing launch projects are going on phase-wise basis.
Right.
So takeoff is there, inquiries are there, conversion is happening. We do expect a lot of further conversion in Q3 and Q4 of the year to happen. And overall Mumbai point of view, the perception of high price is limited to only south and mid city. Across suburb is price as good as the price of other cities in India.
Okay.
So extended suburbs is an MMR area is a price which is still affordable, and there is a takeoff happening at that level.
Okay, so that's a very good summary of the Mumbai market. I'm going to come back and go to my data experts after the break. You know, there are some things that we haven't even touched about. This is without the effect of the monsoon. We've not looked at other things which are probably going to kick the economy into high gear. The huge infrastructure spend which the government is planning, lots of it has already been announced. The 7th pay commission. So how will all of these play out? We'll find out from the data experts, and of course developers must be keeping their fingers crossed that all of that turns out to be positive for offtake, if not prices just yet. Stay with us.
Brigade presents The Realty Debate, powered by Reliance Home Finance with Manisha Natarajan.